Good morning, everybody. I got my coffee, I got my vape. Let's talk a little. Well, today is my birthday. If you listen to this on Thursday, you're listening to the day after my birthday. I'm going to try to get this out on time, but if this is a little late, give me a little bit of grace if you would. Today I'm going to talk about a book I have mentioned before called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. I highly recommend this book for anybody who is pursuing anything. This isn't going to be a book report. This is going to be more related to analyzing your path to success. But before we get started, let's take a sip. So there's a lot of different aspects to this book that are amazing. Like I said, I would highly recommend reading it yourself or getting the audio version. There's a lot that can be gleaned from it. But the aspect that I'm going to be talking about is how it defines the process that you go through to become successful. A lot of these points that it brings up can be misidentified, and I misidentified them a lot when I was younger. Quite a few aspects are going to be shared by everybody. Some of them are going to be shared to different degrees by different peoples, depending on your starting point, what you're trying to achieve, your mindset, different things like that. And some of them are going to be specific to certain situations. Quite a few of these aspects, though, I misread. When things get tough, that means that you're not going in the right direction. Things like that people told me that just aren't correct. And we'll get into that more as we go along. So the first thing is to identify your dream. And a dream doesn't have to be this really dramatic dream or a life goal. It can be something that you just want to achieve. Now, it's got to be something that you have passion for, or this doesn't really apply to it. Now, how do you identify that? Very first thing is that once you find that thing, it possesses your thoughts. You're thinking about it all the time. You're coming across YouTube videos that have anything to do with it in your suggestions, and you go right to it and you want to learn as much as possible. You're drawn to people that do that thing, and you see it everywhere. There might be a lot of doubt. In fact, there probably will be, but something deep inside of you always is telling you that you can do it. This is something that you can achieve. So this book is a parable about a character named Ordinary who lives in a land of familiar. He finds a dream, and this takes you through all the steps and the processes that he has to go through to achieve success in that dream. I'm only going to cover part of the book for this. I will probably cover the rest of it at another time, but I'm going to try to keep this short. It may go a little bit long, so again, give me a little bit of grace on that. The first thing you have to do when you find that dream and possess it is you have to leave your comfort zone. If you could achieve that thing where you are with the mindset that you have, the knowledge base and the tools that you have, then guess what? You would have already achieved it. And any kind of change makes you get out of that familiar area that you settled in. We all settle in it. It makes us comfortable. It makes us feel safe. But you have to get out of that. And that is a scary concept for me. It always has been. It's overwhelming. It's uncomfortable. I have to make changes in quite a few aspects of my life. It takes great effort, and it takes consistent effort. And guess what? You may not have support from the people around you. Matter of fact, I'm almost going to guarantee for most of you that you are going to get just the opposite. When you get out of your comfort zone, you challenge other people that want to stay in their comfort zone because they have those little voices inside of them that's saying that dream can be achieved by you. But the fear and the discomfort is not enough to get them to move. So they are constantly telling themselves, I can't do it. I'm okay where I am. Why take the risk? If it's difficult, it must not be the right thing to do. And then you have that crab in the bucket. If you've ever caught crabs, you put them into a bucket, and if you have only one in there, those suckers will try everything to get out. So you've got to put a lid on the bucket. But once you get 2 or 3 of them in a bucket, you no longer have to have the lid on it, because every time that one tries to climb out, another one is going to yank it down. Now, I'm not sure the crab psychology behind that, but I do know how that relates to people. So the next thing that Ordinary came across on his journey to success was the wall of fear that comes right away when you start getting out of your comfort zone. And guess what? The fear never goes away completely. You just get comfortable with it. You redirect that fear into motivation. But when you first get going, depending on your coping mechanisms for fear, that can feel impenetrable. And it always did with me. And it still does. It makes you want to turn back. It makes you feel like you can't do it. It makes you feel like you're going to die sometimes. But the further you go into the wall of fear, the easier it becomes. Now, it takes momentum. It takes you keep going until you get through, because if you stop and you go back and you try to attack it again, it's going to be harder and it's going to take longer for it to get easier. And every time you do that, it'll get harder and harder to do. But like with most fears, if you face it head on and you just start going through it, it'll get easier and you will come out on the other side stronger. Next, Ordinary came to an area outside of the town of Familiar called Borderland. And that's the border between where you were and where you're going. It's kind of like the point of no return, the point of no turning back. And you can always turn back, but this is the point of commitment. Most people at this point go back and they die never knowing what they could achieve. And that's worse than not starting at all, because you always have that what if. You always have that guilt inside of you of, I just didn't do it. It weakens you. Now, as we move through these steps, most people, about 80%, will use these as a reason to turn back and to give up. But the people who succeed, which is about 20%, they push through and they're stronger because of it. Ordinary was surprised that on the border, he found what he referred to as border bullies. These are the crabs that want to pull you down. And the most surprising thing about this is they're not people that you don't like. They're not even people you don't know. They're the people closest to you. And most of the time they mean well. They're giving you advice that they think is best for you, but they're going to tell you, you can't do it. Come back, be safe, don't leave us. Selfish reasons, unselfish reasons, they're always going to be there. And that is the hardest thing. Somebody that you don't know, somebody on YouTube that's trolling and commenting and says nasty things about you, they're real easy to ignore if you want to. But somebody who's the closest to you, that's really difficult because there's that trust value. So that is a challenge, to be able to know what you're doing. So it helps to reaffirm what you want, what you have to do to achieve it, and that you can do it. It helps to have other people around that are supportive. Most times those are new people, those are new friends. And guess what? Those may be mentors. I've heard that word before. Now, hitting the border or starting anything new is going to be exciting at first. And then it's going to tend to fall off a little bit. The newness is going to wear off. The work is going to come in there. Also the sacrifice, because you're going to have to give up some things that were filling your time, and you're going to have to do the new things that are required to achieve your goal. Sometimes that means spending less time with people. It definitely means spending less time watching YouTube videos and watching TV and maybe playing games. Just saying. It's really important throughout this process that you figure out ways to keep yourself excited. And it takes work to do that. It is a deliberate and focused decision. The biggest one is to keep revisiting your dream. Put your dream out there in front of you. Keep pictures around. Be thinking about it all the time. Be talking to people about it. Keep that dream going. Keep yourself excited when the actual work involved may not be that exciting. Okay, so here is the one that got me. It's referred to as the wasteland. And it happens whenever you are achieving anything. You get to that point where you're building momentum, and for a while, it looks like nothing is happening. If you can imagine having to turn this big giant wheel and you have to push it, it takes so much effort to start getting going, and then it takes effort to keep it going and build that momentum. There is a point as you're pushing it, though, that the weight and the energy of the wheel itself will cause it to start turning on its own, and it becomes easier and easier and easier, and it takes a lot less effort to keep it going. Now, when you stop or you slow down, it is going to start slowing down for the same reasons. It takes more effort to get it going again. At first, it seems like nothing is happening. You start focusing on other YouTubers that do it faster and have gotten more success or started when you did and are so much further along than you are, or many, many different things. Comparison can really be your enemy at this point. You're not getting the benefit from it that you're wanting to do. And also it's the frustration of not being great at it right away. We live in a microwave society. That is a cliche, but it's only getting worse and worse. We expect results right away. And speaking of right away results, I'm gonna take a sip because I need some results from this coffee right away. So you're looking around the wasteland, you don't see anybody else around, nothing is working, you're doubting what direction you should go in, you're doubting your abilities, you're doubting why you even did this. You're starting to miss familiar. You're starting to miss the comfort zone. Yeah, it may have been mundane and boring, but you didn't have to worry about all this. It was a whole lot less stressful. One aspect of it is the hindsight. Not the hindsight at this moment, but when you succeed, you will actually look back and see that you are led to everything that you need at the moment you need it. Not what you think you need, not what you expected that you were going to need, not that you even want, but exactly what you need at that moment. The important thing is to have faith. And that was the next person that Ordinary met on his journey through the wasteland. Faith. Faith will guide you. But here's the thing. It's up to you to choose if you're going to have faith or if you're going to follow faith. And Ordinary chose not to. He didn't believe it. He was stamping his feet. This is unfair. I want to go back. Nothing's happening. What have I done? I'm going to die here in the wasteland. So he sat right down and he didn't move. And I've done that too. The wasteland was that one thing that everybody told me, if it's hard, it's not what you're supposed to be doing. That is a sign that you need to stop and find something else to do. But it's not. One thing that you can know from this experience of being in the wasteland is that you are actually achieving something. Now, don't be stupid. If you're going in the wrong direction and things aren't working, you don't need to keep going in that direction. You do need to tweak. And that's where it helps to have somebody who's experienced to be able to help you figure out, am I going through the wasteland and I just keep on going and it's going to get better? Or am I going in the wrong direction? The thing that happens when you sit down is you break your momentum. And guess what? You have to start that wheel going all over again, which takes a lot more faith, a lot more passion, and a lot more work, and a lot more energy. You may miss out on opportunities while you're sitting there, but new opportunities will come up. Opportunities don't just knock once. That one opportunity may knock once, but there are lots of opportunities that are going to be following along. The right one for you at the right time. You will have everything you need when you need it. So Ordinary finally decided that he was going to die there. There was no food around him, no water, because he wasn't moving. I love the phrase that God can't guide a parked car. If you're not in motion, then you're not going in any direction. There's nowhere to guide you to. Nothing will change as long as you are sitting in that place. So have your pity party. Every once in a while, throw up your hands and say, I can't do this. What the heck am I doing? And then choose to get up and move any direction. Any direction is better than no direction at all. Once you start in motion, then you can be guided and you can tweak the direction that you're going to. You getting motion, that's the hardest thing. And then it's easy to steer at that point and get back on track. So you need to trust faith. You need to keep that faith going. Faith comes with passion. They're hand in hand. Keep that passion going. Keep the excitement. Keep your target visible in front of you. You're not going to go anywhere until you do. I'm sorry. So finally, Ordinary made it through the wasteland. He followed faith. It got easier as he was going because he was focused on the sanctuary. The sanctuary is that point where you get your 1,000 subscribers and you make your first 2 or 3 cents from YouTube. Now, I'm relating this to YouTube because this is one of the things that I'm going through is the wasteland of YouTube. That is the point where your first big goal has been achieved and you feel like, I've made it. But actually, that was only preparing you to start going to school. All of this is for you to gather the tools, experience, and the skills you need to actually start learning. So don't get stopped there. Don't get frozen there, but spend some time in there. Enjoy it. Celebrate the moment. Celebrating being there. Rest and heal. but then get up and start going. And you may need to tweak who your mentors are, who the people are that you're associating with, to have people who are at your level or beyond at that point to be able to grow. Let's take another sip before we go any further. So you found your dream, or your dream has found you. You actually have it in you all the time. It's just a matter of recognizing or something or somebody bringing that out. And then you have to make the decision to leave the comfort zone. Leave your familiar. Sometimes leave people that you've been friends with for your whole entire life. You don't have to be mean to them. You don't have to break things off with them. You just have to stop spending your time with those people and start spending your time with people and in things that are going to help you move towards your dream. On your way out of that comfort zone, you hit that wall of fear. And that wall of fear is real, and it can send you into panic attacks. You can experience it physically. Throughout this journey, it really helps to have somebody that you trust that understands what you're going through, especially if they understand it because they've gone through it. You would not believe how comforting it is for somebody to tell you when you're going through that tough times that, hey, this is a step. Everybody goes through it. I went through it. It's going to get better. This is what it's going to lead to. It really, really helps at that point. A lot of the fear goes away. So you just keep pushing through that wall of fear. It gets easier as you go through. Then you're going to have to get some momentum going. Your excitement of the processes are going to kind of wane because they're going to become mundane, they're going to become usual, and that's when the work comes in. That is where the wasteland starts. You don't see anything happening around you. It doesn't look like anything that you're doing is achieving anything. You want to be so far ahead. You want to paint the Mona Lisa on your first day with finger paints. This is all normal. Don't turn back. Don't get discouraged, or try not to get discouraged. I guess saying don't be discouraged and don't be afraid is kind of like pointless because you're going to feel that way. But push through it. Get a tough skin, get a solid mindset, and be determined and stubborn that you're going to do this come hell or high water. And then get faith. Try not to stop in the mid-process. Try not to spend too much time stamping your feet, throwing the fit, and being scared and crying and wailing and gnashing teeth. Spend as much time in motion. Stay in motion. Action cures everything. Make it through this wasteland. Don't take it as a sign that you're not supposed to do this. Take it as a sign that you're on the right track. And then when you get to Sanctuary, celebrate that win. Celebrate that milestone. That is the guiding post that you have been directed to. That's the mountain off in the distance that you're walking to that seems like it's closer than it ever is until you get there. Spend some time in there. Enjoy it. But don't stay there. Move on. That's as far as I'm going to go with this today. I think that's enough. These were the biggest points that I got from this book that hit me personally. I've heard and read a lot of reviews about this book, and also from the author. He's got quite a few different teaching things and audios and videos and things related to this because it's that important. But I never really ever heard anybody put this in this particular way. Now, what's going to be ahead for you? Well, I'd like to say it's going to be smooth sailing, but you know what? It's not. Nothing in life comes easy. You grow from the challenges. You should welcome the challenges. Ahead, you're going to face giants. You're going to face giants that you've been hiding from your whole entire life. You're going to face a ton of new giants. You're going to face actual giants in the industry that you're wanting to get into. Some of them will reach down to help you. Some of them will ignore you. And some of them will try to stop you because they see you as competition. And all along the way, you will have the weapons and the tools you need to overcome that if you trust in them and you look for them. You're going to have battles that you win. You're going to have tons of battles that you lose. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall down a lot. But I've heard this said, and I can't remember who first said it. The difference between a failure and a winner is they get up one more time than they fall down. Along this trip, you're going to find allies, you're going to find coaches, and you're going to find tons of opportunities. And if you keep going, you're going to find success. And if you're like me and most people who find success, they're going to realize at that moment, that's just a stepping stone to be able to move on. Everything that you've been experiencing, everything that you've achieved has led you to just the beginning of something bigger. So with that, let's take one more sip. So if you're new to the channel and you're unfamiliar, get out of your comfort zone. Take a look around, check out some of my other videos. I hope you find something that you enjoy. If you do, please consider subscribing and sharing this with somebody else that you think is going to enjoy it. Definitely comment. Let me know if you've read this book, first of all, and your views on it. And let me know your experience going through the wasteland. That's the big one. Going through all these steps, really. Your feedback is so important, and I love to start conversations. I love to hear other people's experience. I've said that many times, but I really do. Stories are the best part of life. Definitely hit the like or dislike button. Either way, hit the ringy-dingy thing so you're notified every time I make a video and you don't miss out on anything. And as always, no matter what tune that life plays you, always find your groove. Thanks for having coffee with me on my birthday. I will see you next time. Bye.